Basically, data is currency. Data is gold. Yes. What do everybody ask you? You go to a retail store. What do they ask you for? Hi, sir, can I have your phone number? What is that? That's data. So they can plug you in and say, you know what, this phone number bought this much amount of products, whatever. Can I have your email address so I can send you a marketing newsletter and hopefully get you back? It's all this data is currency. When people say it's going to replace me or it's going to replace my job, there's no such thing as replacing a human being, because we have something that machines will never have. We have feeling and understanding.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tech for Change. I'm your host, Rami. Today I've got the opportunity to have with us Jad Elliott Deep. Welcome to the show, Jad.
Thank you. Thanks.
How's it going?
Me. Good. How are you? Good.
I'm doing well. Actually, Jad is an award-winning tech entrepreneur of the year 2021. He's the founder and CEO of PangaeaX. And PangaeaX actually is the world's first and only data analytic freelancer services dedicated platform. So tell me more about you, Jad.
About me? I'm a bit of a mixed story. I was born in Europe, grew up in Europe, left Europe, came over here, worked in corporate world, decided it wasn't for me, tried to do my own thing, and here I am.
I know that you have a core background in computer science.
Yep.
And a strong suit in data analytics. Mm-hmm. So I believe our audience in the US and the GCC would be very interested to know more about this amazing switch. And you kind of can tell us more about your journey all the way from the corporate world till you founded PangaeaX.
Sure. So even if I go a little bit before, growing up, I always loved tech. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a game developer. I mean, like most young boys, you love video games, you want to develop a game, right?
What was your favorite game?
I was probably a FIFA guy.
Oh,
which I never touch anymore.
It was over the PC or PlayStation?
PlayStation,
cool.
Xbox.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a developer. So I started looking into how do you start learning about developing, how do you develop a game. You have to start learning another language, such as programming language. And then the time for me to go to university came. So I decided to go into computer science, which would give me a good background in tech in general, but also in programming, right? Because you can go into university and study game development specifically, but I didn't want to just do that, right? So I studied computer science. And after 3.5-4 years of computer science, I realized it wasn't for me.
Oh.
Yeah, so programming wasn't for me. The tech side of things, the programming, the theoretical was very interesting.
You wanted more of a hands-on?
No, I didn't want hands-on. That's the thing. No.
Wow.
So we did software engineering. We did some programming classes, learning programming, learning all this, and at the end, I just realized it's not for me. And then I also thought about it where I told myself I would be competing, like at the end, if you're going into a job, you're competing for this job and you're competing in the industry, right?
Correct.
I would be competing with people that are so passionate about programming that some people start programming when they're 13 years old.
Yeah, I've met a couple, to be honest.
They're reading these books and they're learning at 13 years old, which I wasn't that passionate about it. So I just told myself, you know what, theoretical is great. It's a good background to have, but it's not the path for me. So I went into consulting. And that's where I got exposed to consulting, auditing, IT consulting. So consulting and auditing, you can do business, you could do finance, you could do a lot of different aspects, but I went into IT. And that's where I started specializing into data.
And that was in 2014.
14.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was a bit before the let's say, when the digital transformation started to become the new normal.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So in 2014, you dived more into the IT consultancy. And what happened afterwards?
I realized it wasn't sustainable. Because if you look at consultancies, at least big firms, they thrive on turnover, right? They thrive on employees not lasting that long and then getting a new junior employee. Maybe 10% of the people that are in a consultancy firm will actually make it all the way to manager, director, partner level, and then so on, right? But did I consider myself to be part of that maybe 10% where I think, okay, I've got the next 20 years of my life that I'm going to work towards becoming a partner? No, that wasn't for me.
You wanted to be more of an independent person?
Yes. I think I told you a little bit earlier, I'm not a control freak, but I like to control my life at least, you know?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I wouldn't be a good soldier, for example. I don't like listening to you do X, Y, Z and that's it. No, I have an opinion and I like to have discussions and listen to your opinion. And if you're right, I admit that you're right and I'm wrong. But in a corporate world, there is no such thing. It's the guy at the top says X, Y, Z and you say, yes, sir. And you do X, Y, Z. That's it. You don't have an opinion or they don't value your opinion. They might listen to it, but they don't really value it.
Did the consultancy expertise shape your personality somehow? I believe everything has its pros and cons, right? But what were the cons that you've gained out of consultancy?
I don't want to say it was a con or a mistake or something negative. There's no such thing. For me, I don't look at that as a negative. There's lessons learned. So I learned a lesson. And I learned that this certain aspect of work, my professional life, the corporate world, wasn't for me. I appreciate everything that they taught me. And to this day, I still use a lot of the things that they taught me, right? And even the soft skills, you go through training, you go through a soft skill training of being able to talk to people. If many people don't know me, at least here in this region, before I graduated. When I was younger, when I graduated, I wasn't very comfortable talking to people. I learned that at consultancy, right? Because you talk to clients.
Helps a lot.
So you sit down and you talk to clients, tell me what your requirements are, how can I request for this document, I need to talk to this team, I need to talk to that. So you get exposed to so many different things and then your personality kind of evolves. I don't want to say changes, but it evolves.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't exposed to that. So for me at university or even before university, I was very much in my little box. And I had my group of friends or my group of the people around me, and I was very comfortable. But anything outside, I would get very maybe shy and very not so much insecure, but just not comfortable.
I see. Right. So you took a decision to become your own boss.
Yeah.
So as a techpreneur, with a background in computer science, right? So did it somehow give you any sort of competitive edge, or was it a burden of your back because you want to perfect things?
No, it was never a burden. It was never a burden. It was always an advantage and just a positive point under my belt to be able to, like for me, when I talk to my developers, for example, I'm sure developers, because we outsource a lot of things, right? And these developers also work with other companies. And they're used to talking to the boss or talking to the person in charge, and that person not knowing what's going on behind the scenes development-wise, you know, programming languages and this and that. But when they sit down and they talk to me and they're talking to me and I'm telling them, okay, this is what we want to build. We're trying to build this feature. What do you think? And this, and how can we do this? And they try and they didn't at the start, they didn't speak to me like a normal person. They would dumb it down because they didn't expect me to understand.
I see.
Right, but because of my background, because I actually hands-on at university, I was programming, I did software development, I did that stuff. So I tell them, use your jargon, the terms that you use between yourselves, speak to me normally, it's fine. And they started doing that, and they understood that, oh, you know what? One, you can't bullshit this guy, but also two, he knows a little bit, so it makes their life easier.
So they started to be more accurate when it comes to the Gantt chart and
everything.
What sort of methodology they're using.
Yes.
Cool.
And they're telling me, you know what, it's going to take 10 days to do X, Y, Z. Yeah, a normal person might just say, okay, because they don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, I challenged that. Because I had some hands-on experience, and I would say, why 10 days? You have a team of 5 people. It takes less than 2 days per person. You should be looking at 7 days or 8 days. And, you know, so everything that I learned at university, the theoretical side of computer science, was a great benefit. It was never a negative point.
Amazing. So I was checking your LinkedIn, and I noticed that you were talking about, I believe it's the right time to dive deeper into data analytics, which is your strong suit.
Yes.
So basically, I've noticed you were talking about predictive analytics in terms of marketing as well. And my entire network is shaped by marketing and digital transformation managers. So I believe they would be delighted to know more from the expert himself.
So basically, look, if we go into data analytics, or actually let's take it a step further. What is everybody talking about these days, right? Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence,
AI.
Everybody's on these keywords: AI, so cool, chatbot, GPT, and this stuff and whatnot, right? But do they understand what's going on behind the scenes? What is the basis of any machine learning algorithm, or even artificial intelligence? You got to have data, right? In order to get to a good stage for you to even consider or think artificial intelligence or machine learning, you have to have your data in a good quality, good structure, analyzed properly. You gotta have some predictive. You have to have analyzed the data already into a predictive model, so that you can then also plug into artificial intelligence. You got to have a lot of things already set.
So take me, let's go back to the foundation, which is data.
Yeah.
So I believe you were mentioning having curated data, you meant. So how would you go about it? So let's say you're talking now to a big firm, which is, let's say, more than 1,000 employees.
Sure.
You want to start working on, and it's part of the digital transformation, correct me if I'm wrong. So how would you go about it at first? And I do believe most of the projects will revolve around data.
Yes. So every company can have their own ways of collecting data. Collecting data, meaning it can be on Excel sheets, it can be on a specific system, it could be, it could be a paper, and employees have filled in questionnaires and filled in that. That's data, right? You can use all this different type of data, and no matter where it sits, it doesn't matter. Nowadays, you have systems, you have platforms and softwares that can plug into anything. And worst case scenario, we used to do this for our clients. Even if our softwares don't plug into your systems, because your systems are very specific, they're very niche, they're very whatever it is, you get an extract. You get an extract, and most of that extract is either a CSV or an Excel sheet or
Going
whatever.
back to legacy.
Yes, basics. Very basic. And you analyze that. So when you have that data, you start analyzing. But before you start analyzing, you need to clean your data. And that's part of digital transformation. Digital transformation, which we used to do, is, at least for one aspect of it, is quality of data. A lot of companies, or let's take a finance department somewhere in Dubai, whatever. They have all these finances, right? But there's human error. There's maybe someone typed it in and it was with one extra zero or one extra decimal. Or data quality is a very big thing, because if you start analyzing data that is not clean, your results are going to be horrible. You will not be able to depend on those results, because they won't be good quality. So people spending 40 hours a week on cleaning data, and we've experienced this. People used to do this. They used to tell us, you know what? You know how my 40-hour week is? I'm spending 36 hours a week just cleaning my data.
Wow.
And then 4 hours, I'm trying to prepare and plug into a template. And then by next week, which already they're delayed because it's a weekly report, by next week, I can actually start analyzing the data. And then, but next week you have to start the same process again. So they were so big on manual efforts. Digital transformation came in at a perfect time for them because we were growing as an industry. When I say we, data is always growing. So companies, the amount of data used to be like this. Now companies are gathering this much data.
Tomorrow, is it the currency? Is it the currency now?
Yeah, basically, data is currency. Data is gold. Yes. What do everybody ask you? You go to a retail store. What do they ask you for? Hi, sir, can I have your phone number? What is that? That's data. So they can plug you in and say, you know what, this phone number bought this much amount of products, whatever. Can I have your email address so I can send you a marketing newsletter and hopefully get you back? It's all this data is currency, right? So just going back, digital transformation was taking these people 40 hours a week to almost get to nothing. Digital transformation transformed that and changed their 40 hours of effort into 1 hour because they just do it with a click of a button. There's softwares like Tableau Prep, like Alteryx, like Power BI, where you create workflows, right? And these workflows are essentially what you are currently doing on a manual basis. Whatever you're doing, yeah, I'll take this column, I'll delete it, I'll do this, I'll format this. You can automate that. So basically automating that saves you that entire 40 hours. So then just one click of a button, you click the button and khalas, it's cleaned, your data is of a good quality. Next, you can move on to the next step, analyze it.
So yes. Tell me more about analyzing data. What sort of red flags you've encountered? Do you have any industry of preference that you like to analyze when it comes to data? So
I get what you're saying, but to be very honest, I've had this discussion a few times. Data is data, right? Data is numbers. So to me, it doesn't matter if data is footfall analysis of people in a shopping mall, or financials of profit and loss, or newsletters, or visitors to a museum. It's all numbers at the end. It's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 0 and a whatnot. So it doesn't matter to me the industry, and it never did at all. We worked with supermarkets, analyzing their customers and their preferences and whatever. We worked with an airport, Dubai airport, where they were analyzing footfall. They were analyzing through cameras and GPS signals how many people take this route, how many people take this route. And why do they do that? Because they're trying to analyze how many people go in this direction so that they know, okay, I'll put this shop over here. I'll put this advertisement over here because there's more people going this way. What type of people? Then they go into the details. What type of people? There's the gate that normally goes to the US over here. So mostly Americans go in this way. They're more likely to go for a specific brand. You go maybe to a more Asian specific gates over here, going to, I don't know, China, India, Malaysia, wherever it is. Those that audience have a different preference to the Western people, right? So you put the shops over there that suit these people, and you put those museums do the same thing. They analyze. How do they analyze?
Is it via IoT? Is it via planted devices, or
it's actually through your phone. So when you connect to their free Wi-Fi,
proximity.
No, not necessarily. You're connecting to their Wi-Fi. So when you connect to their free Wi-Fi, it's not essentially free. You're not paying a dirham or a dollar or a euro, but you're giving something up. You're giving your GPS location. So therefore, they have a big map, right, on a screen, and you become a dot on the map, right? So Jad becomes a dot on this map, and they start following my phone. Right? Wherever my phone goes, they follow it. And they say, you know what? Look, Jad is actually going to Spain, and he needs to go to this gate, but he decided to go this way. Why? Because Jad made a stop at McDonald's, or he made a stop at duty free. So they know that, okay, now they profile me. It's not a nice word to say, but they profile you, right?
It's more of a technical word, so...
Yeah. So there's a lot of profiling. They gather the data on who you are, what nationality. Most of the time, they don't care about your name. They don't care about your age. They don't care about anything. They just ask you, you know what, where are you coming from? What's your nationality? And you fill it because you don't care. You just want free Wi-Fi, right? Mm-hmm. So the only thing I need to do is tick I agree to terms and just fill nationality. Okay, so I will put I'm Canadian, or I will put
and you would accept the cookies and
yes, done.
Hence,
and no one is the wiser. No one really looks behind the scenes and says what's going on. Well, no one even reads the terms and conditions at the bottom, right? Because they're like 16 pages long. Right?
Absolutely.
So, but no one really cares. You're giving me something in return. You're giving me free Wi-Fi. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Take my phone GPS. Enjoy.
So we're talking on a bigger scale, right? We're talking supermarkets, hypermarkets. We're talking airports.
Airports, shopping malls, museums,
yeah.
all this stuff.
We're talking on a very big, large scale. So that was the question when I was mentioning industries. And would it matter if you're working on a smaller scale? Let's say, let's give it an example: a small restaurant, or did you ever come across a use case where you've kind of through your the analysis, the proper analysis of data, you've shifted the entire operations out of those data?
I mean. Is it different? Yes, it's different. Is it less beneficial? No, it's just it's suiting its requirement or its need. So we had one was a very small barbershop, right? A very small barbershop actually reached out, and they just wanted to automate their financials because they don't know anything. They don't want to expense and start buying a computer and get softwares with licenses and whatnot. No, they just want something simple. They say, I have an Excel sheet that I ask my barbers to fill every single day. Every time they get a client, they tell me, okay, I charge this much. They tip this much, and this is how much money I make at the end. And they do that manually, you know? So they reached out and they said, you know what, can you please analyze our data? We have data for years. It's a small barbershop, but we've been going on for years now. I have all the Excel sheets for years. Please analyze.
And so, out of this analysis,
yeah,
Jad, you gave your 2 cents on you know, like
no. There's no opinion in data. That's the beauty of it. It's all facts, right? So what we give in return is a report saying, these are the facts. Do with it what you will. By that I mean, let's say we analyze 5 years. 5 years of data shows me that in December and January, business is slow because everybody leaves for holidays. It's Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is. Right, but then starting from Feb up until let's say May, June, you get really good numbers because everyone's working, everyone's hustling, everyone's coming to you, and you know they're working like crazy. Then there's a small period that you start noticing maybe in June, July that business goes down. Why? You start looking at what's going on in their surroundings. You tell them, okay, so actually because in July, and this was an American barber, right? So in July 1, you have Independence Day, so they do an Independence weekend, right? So everybody goes off during that time. And then they look at kids at school. They actually finish around the end of June, July. So that means these people now take holiday from their corporate world and they go and take the kids on a summer holiday, right? So all these things attribute to the numbers. The numbers are just facts.
So this is how you kind of complement marketing. So
yes.
If I want to take, and I want your take on that. So I want to pick your brain about marketing. So if I want to do a high-level decision, or even if it were a let's say over a department or any sort of a team, small team. So I have to always base my assumptions over data, right? But how would data analytics support marketing? Because you were mentioning, and we go back a little bit in our conversation about data analytics, but emphasized over the marketing side of things.
So marketing, at least for me, is not mindless or headless chickens running around and thinking, okay, let's just do this today. They have a strategy in their head. They're smart people, right? So they will come to you and tell you, I think that we should be doing, if it's a restaurant, we should be doing a 20% discount on Mondays and Tuesdays because business is not good. What are they basing that off? They're basing that off data. So if I go back to my example that I was talking about, the barber, he wanted all of this analysis. Why? So that he could do something about it. So, and that ties into marketing, because he saw that his numbers are down in July and whatnot. And for him to make his target, he came up with a strategy, or his marketing team came up with a strategy saying, you know what, we'll give a discount, but the discount will outweigh the loss of that month, because we'll get more people in June right before they come to we come to July. So we'll send out a 20% or 25% discount in June. And then we'll make, because everybody's interested in a discount, so everybody will come in June, and then in July, because your numbers are already low, they will still be low.
So those beautiful marketing stunts that we see over ATL,
it's all based on data.
All based on,
of course. It's not someone waking up one day and saying, hey guys, I have a wonderful idea. Let's send out 25% discount on tables.
Credit goes to data analytics team and not the creative departments. I'm sorry for that.
Sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but yes, data.
Yeah, so okay, I'm very happy for where we're heading to. So I wanted to discuss with you the self-service data analytic platforms, and what are your suggestions and recommendations for startups, small businesses, and medium businesses?
So basically, self-service is in the word. It's self-service. It's for you to do your own data analytics, your own data analysis, your own data quality checks, your own data cleansing. You do everything yourself. And why do they call it self-service? Because when we go to, let's say, a junk food place, let's go to McDonald's, back to McDonald's, right? What's the self-service machine? Why do people use it? Well, because it's convenient, it's easy. The key word being easy. So self-service platforms and softwares for analytics, they're easy. You don't need to know programming languages. You don't need to know Python or R to do some predictive, and you don't need that. It's self-service. It's very, very simple. And most of these platforms, let's take an example. For example, let's talk about Tableau. Tableau is a very big self-service analytics software. Okay, it's so simple that anybody that has no background in data can learn it within an hour or two. I'm not saying you'll become an expert and you'll start analyzing everything in the world, right? But you'll be able to serve your purpose. If your purpose is, I need to analyze these financials for the month, you will be able to do that within a couple hours of investment of your time just to understand the self-service tool, Tableau. You'll be able to do it. How? Because they do the programming and the calculations and the formulas and everything behind the scenes. What are you doing? You drag and you drop. Very simple, right? So let's say you plug in an Excel sheet. Plug in an Excel sheet and you have, let's say, A to Z in columns. Columns are variables, right? So you'll have A, B, C, D, all these columns, and each column will be discussing, filling a certain data, profit and loss, discount, day, where location this was bought, whatever it is, right? And what do? You don't have to do like Excel equals open bracket this formula and what if and no. Drag and drop. Very simple, right? And they explain to you the logic behind it. They tell you, okay, if you want to analyze how many products were sold in this location.
But is it recommended for what sort of
for small
size?
For small and medium-sized businesses. For small, because most of the time, if you're not an expert in something, what do? You go out and get an expert, right? Sorry.
It's okay.
So basically, they're saving you the trouble of outsourcing. Right? Why do people come to consulting companies? Right? Because they don't have an expert in-house. They need an expert from outside. Now these self-service tools are saving these small and medium-sized companies who are also very budget conscious, by the way, right? They don't want to really be spending too much here and there, but
they're very meticulous,
right?
about it.
There's such a great benefit for analytics, but unfortunately, guys, sorry, we don't have the budget, so we're gonna have to push that till next year. So then also that goes into your business, and you start kind of falling behind the trend. Everyone's doing data analytics, but you don't have budget as a small company, so you kind of fall behind. Right?
So in 2023, I know you're gonna say it's a must, but what is your 2 cents for small startups or SMEs? Guys, you need to have it, or you can just stick to your own Excel sheets and keep skimming through it.
Look, data analysis and data analytics can be done on Excel. It's a basic form of data analytics, but it can be done, right? So if you're doing analysis on Excel, it's not a bad thing. You just don't know any better, right? If you have the opportunity to be exposed and you have the budget, if you're a small company, to try and explore something with a bigger software or a self-service tool, then I highly recommend it, because all these little startups or medium-sized companies or even large companies, there's some instances where to this day, we're in 2023, they have been gathering data for years. Not 1 year, not 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Have they done anything with that data? And to this day, there are still companies that are able to say, no, I haven't done anything with that data. It's there sitting, gathering dust, but I'm not doing anything with it. And that's currency. Imagine leaving gold on the table, right? You can use that. You can do something with it.
How did their marketing initiatives work for them? Or
back in the day, everything used to happen by gut. You have a gut feeling, right? And for a lot of people, it used to work, because back then we weren't as developed, we weren't as tech savvy, we didn't have as many options, right? For example, I don't know. Let's go back to the food industry, right? It was very simple for a place like McDonald's to just market their burgers, right? Fast food. But then down the line, years down the line, they not only had 2 competitors, but now they have 10, 15, 20, 30, even more competitors. So now that's when they actually say, you know what, we need to look at the data so that actually our marketing is more targeted. Because before we were just doing whatever, and it worked because we were the only people around. But now you have more options, right?
Came to my attention like, Jad, why Dubai? Why are you in Dubai? And mostly talking from a business standpoint. Is Dubai the perfect hub for developing or generating the proper use case?
It is.
It is.
Plain and simple, it is. Because let's say I go to the US. US is great for tech, right? You go to Silicon Valley, you go to San Francisco, everyone's talking about making a startup and whatnot, but their competition and there's so much going on around you because their market is so mature, right? And I've said this before, and it's not at all a negative point towards the UAE. It's an opportunity. Because the UAE is so young, it's such an immature market. And immature is not a negative point. Immature just means you're starting. So if you look around at Dubai, imagine you have Dubai like this, and it's just starting. Imagine where it's going to be in 20 years, in 50 years, right? But look at other countries and they have been very well established, and they have their industries, and they have their economy and everything, and they've been running for, as a country, for 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 100, 200 years. These countries have been running as a country. The UAE is a fresh country. The UAE has so much opportunity because it's so young. There's so much, I don't want to say missing, but essentially, yes, missing. There's so much that the outside world has not yet brought.
What I've been told is that a lot of, I don't want to name any country, specific country, but
Sure.
from the well-known countries that are coming to Dubai to learn of what is happening
Yeah.
within this beautiful and well-designed
Yeah.
ecosystem. So
You know, it probably took countries over 100 years to get to where they are, right? You look at Dubai, and within less than 50 years, they got to where they are. Actually, just not the UAE in general. Just look at Dubai. Dubai, 25 years ago, there was no building here, right? This right here where we are would have been a sand pit. There was nothing here. And then step outside this building and look at where we are, right?
it's quite impressive.
It's very impressive. So then on a business standpoint, why would I not want to go to such an environment where things are so rapidly changing and things can, doors can open up from one day to the other? Why would I not go
Considering that we're talking about the future, and as we look towards the future, how do you see data analytics in the next 5 to 10 years? Any trends that you're particularly excited about?
I'm excited, but I'm also doubtful a little bit.
Concerned, maybe.
Yeah, concerned. Yeah, that's a good word. Let's go with concerned. Chat GPT, right? It's a wonderful tool. It's all this artificial intelligence that it started in November, right? In November, this tool was released, and it was the first tool of its kind. So everybody lost their mind, okay? Everybody just went crazy and started using it, and they were fascinated, and it's a beautiful tool, don't get me wrong. And it has so much potential for good, but it also has so much potential to, 1, make people lazy, 2, make people redundant. So now you have kids, students, because back in our day, when we were 10 or 12 or even 14 years old, we didn't have an iPad.
I wish we had.
Right? Well, we didn't have a laptop, or if we did, it was like this thick, and you weren't bringing it to school, right? You were using it at the home. Now these kids are getting homework, and they're getting work from school, which is for educational purposes, right? They're supposed to be learning from it. And what do? They go onto these such platforms and they say, can you write me an essay about the 1066 Hastings battle in the UK from history? Okay, great. Within 5 seconds, they have a 250 or 5, whatever they say. I need 500-word essay. The program will make it like this.
But what is the correlation, Jad, between the dangerous side of this multimodal and data analytics?
So that let's say tool, that platform, is based off of data. And they've said it themselves by saying when you log on or when you try and sign up,
2021.
They say this is basically a test. This is not the final product, and we are basically gathering data. They're gathering data to see what people answer, what people are questioning. So that, why are they doing that? Because, like I said at the very start, data is the core behind all this artificial intelligence and machine learning. The artificial intelligence algorithm needs to learn from somewhere, right? Where is it learning from? It's learning from us inputting these questions.
Yeah, we're feeding.
Right? The more we feed it, the more it learns. That's why I say it's beautiful. It's a
and
beautiful
I believe
thing.
you've noticed recently they ask you if the answer is worse or is it good.
Yes.
And
they ask you your
this is where
opinion, and they tell you
you're validating.
Yes, exactly. And sure, you'll get the odd one out not validating it correctly and whatnot, but they have their processes to eliminate those things. That's an outlier. But yes, we're essentially, they've built a concept, which is beautiful. Like I keep saying, it's beautiful because I'm amazed by it, right? Growing up in an era where I didn't have a computer, right? When I was very young, there was no such thing. And there was no such thing as internet. My first internet connection was ADSL. We used to connect through the telephone, you know?
Yeah.
Your mom picks up the phone and says, beep, 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 you know? So like the evolution we've gone through, it fascinates me. But they've built a beautiful product, but we are the ones feeding it.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
it wasn't for us feeding it, they would have nothing. So
But
we are
would
the
it
ones giving them
would
currency.
it affect data analytics? I know it's based on data, but I'm talking, would it be used to generate data analytics once it's going to be
Essentially, yes.
updated? Because I believe the latest update of ChatGPT, it was 2021, and you keep asking it and like you keep changing questions. Khalas, it's set.
Yes.
2021. So once it will be updated in real time, and I believe it's not going to be far away from 2023. So
Yeah, not at all.
It's happening. So would it affect, or would it kind of, just like everyone is saying, it's jeopardizing my profession and my industry? Would it affect your industry somehow? Because I want to talk about Pangea X.
To a certain degree, yeah, it would affect. But when people say it's going to replace me or it's going to replace my job, there's no such thing as replacing a human being, right? Because we have something that machines will never have. We have feeling and understanding. The machines look at numbers and they will come to their conclusion with their numbers, right? But sometimes there's a reason behind that number, right? There's a reason why let's say somebody goes and buys a lot of stuff in a store. Let's say a lady goes to a store and buys a lot of stuff, right? The machine will sit there and try to understand, this person, this lady bought this much and it's currently June, and it won't understand what's going on because they're looking at numbers, right? But us as human beings, we will look at it and say, maybe she's doing some retail therapy. She had a bad day and she's going to... A computer will not understand what is a bad day, right? A computer will not understand I'm sad. What do I do when I'm sad? I shop.
Unless it's Facebook.
No,
so
even
sentiment analysis and these components.
They say these things and there is no such thing.
I believe I want to, before we end this very insightful discussion, I wanted to talk more about the mechanics of Pangea X, how your platform connects clients with data analysts, and how would you ensure the right match for their requirements. Sure. And at the same time, I want to as well pass through the quality check. So how you make sure that those analysts are delivering the proper quality.
Sure. So basically what we have is we are a platform where there's essentially two different types of parties that come to the table, right? Clients and service providers. Service providers can be a multitude of different things. They can be an individual freelancer. It can be a company, by the way. So we have companies that signed up with Pangea and they bid on projects as a company. And then you have a team. A team consists of multiple freelancers came together and created their own virtual team, virtual company, if you will, right? Those three, and then clients on one side and then the other, okay? Clients come to our platform and they post their requirements. They say, I need an analyst to come and look at my financials. I need a report of these financials. And I need a forecast of next year's profit or loss. I need to see according to, and it's not magic. I always say this, but it's not magic. You can't predict the future, right? But you can tell with a level of certainty. I can tell you, according to your past data, there's an 80% chance that next year you are at a loss of 200K or 300 or whatever it is. Your profit of $500,000. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a certain chance, there's a level to that. I can get to a certain.
Do you take into account macro external factors?
Yes, yes. So when you do predictive analysis, you look at everything, right? You look at the external factors as well as what's going on inside the company. External, by that I mean, we had an example of a supermarket. They wanted to predict how much chicken they need to order on a daily basis, right? And we came up with this formula, and we told them, look, according to the past 2 years of data, we can tell you this day, this month, you will need XYZ amount of chicken. Why? Because we look at the external factors, including national holidays. We include what's going on around the world. We include events, right? If we were in Qatar, we would have included the World Cup. And we also, like, if we were doing analysis in Dubai, we include it because there are people traveling from Dubai to Qatar, and they come through and they visit Dubai. So we take a lot of external factors. Can we take all of them? No. You have to choose.
You draw the line at a certain...
Yes, at a certain point, you cannot have all the variables in the world. Otherwise, it's infinity amount. There's so many different variables, right?
It's an endless mission.
Yeah. This is why I say you can have an 80% certainty, 85. Sometimes we get to 86, 87. Even if your model is great, you could probably get to a 92% certainty level. Can you get to 100%? No. Because there's certain factors that you will never be able to predict.
Cool. Right. Awesome. Hey, Jad, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And for sharing your incredible insights. Honestly, I have had a fantastic conversation with you.
Me too.
And I'm sure our listeners have gained a wealth of knowledge from you. And for our listeners, be sure to follow Jad, Elliot, Deep, over LinkedIn. And until next time, we keep diving deep into the world of tech for change. Stay tuned.